Now, the movie today has everything. It has blood and death. It has hell. It has boobs. It has an NC-17 rating. It's got everything. It is called The Book of Fire, and it is on Tubi. We start out with the Emperor Justinian being with his harem and boobs less than a minute in. And you know it's going to be a great movie from here. When one of his harem comes in with a book, the Book of Fire, she introduces it. He says a Babylonian found it when raiding a temple, and she's giving it to the Emperor Justinian so he can reign forever. She says he has to open it with blood, so he cuts his hand with a dagger and opens her up. Then we cut to Nina in present day The Valley. Well, 2015 Valley. The movie came out in 2015. Who's getting ready to go to school. I think it's college because they're doing it on the lawn. But then again, in the Valley, they may do all school on the lawn. This is the Valley. And she's a normal girl who wakes up with perfect hair and perfect teeth and perfect breath and perfect everything. As all girls do. That's just how being a girl is. And as she's getting ready, she goes down to her Aunt Jackie, who has a cup of coffee waiting for her, and says, "We have to talk later." Which is always a good sign in a horror movie. Or any movie for that matter. And then her friends arrive, saying, "You're going to go to a party later, right? It's all for you, for your birthday." And it's at Kevin's house. We do meet Kevin later. He says yes. Then she goes to brush her teeth and sees a message written in Latin on a wall, on a mirror. But she looks up, which says she's the holder of justice or something like that. Something like that. It's in Latin. She looks it up. Then she goes to school and has a philosophy class on the lawn, just like Socrates used to do with Alexander the Great. Or was it Plato with Alexander the Great? There was one of those with Alexander the Great. And he used to hold it on the lawn. But back then they lived in caves. Then she goes home, and all of a sudden, all hell breaks loose. Her toilet's shooting fire, her sink's shooting fire, her tub's shooting fire. And then she's transported to hell, and hell is really cool in this movie. It's not like a lake of fire or anything like that. I mean, there's fire and there's people falling out of the sky and stuff. But it's like this warehouse, and there are people being tortured inside. And there's all sorts of different tortures and everything, and it's really cool. And she meets this Nazi who's getting set on fire every day, and she stops it. And she's talking to this Nazi, and then she meets this suicide victim who's being tortured by himself for committing suicide over a girl. And Nazi tells her, "Do not ever come back here, just go out the way you came in." But he says she looks like a girl who's in here. Referring to, as we find out later, now when she comes back from hell, that she is the descendant of Justinian and his harem girl Dani, who brought him the Book of Fire. And that Justinian, after his daughter with Theodora led a revolt of 300 people, he killed the 300 people and gave Theodora, cursed her from the Book of Fire, the plague, with the plague. But she spit on Justinian, thus spreading the plague. And Justinian, to spare himself and Theodora and Dani, they killed 100 people a month to spare themselves from the effects of the plague. But they end up spreading the plague all over Europe. And now Nina carries the plague. And her options are kill 100 people a month and spread the plague, or kill herself. Those are two great options. I mean, wonderful options. So we go to a party, and the party goes on a little long. I mean, we meet Kevin, and Kevin and her have a few moments together, and her friend gets drunk, and the jocks act like dumb jocks. And Jason Mewes is there, but Jason Mewes is at every party. I mean, anytime there's like a college party around, Jason Mewes is there with drugs. And that's just in real life, because that's just how Jason Mewes is. So anyways, eventually there's a seance. And it's revealed that the Nazi medal that Nina did not want to bring, Nina's friend brought. I think her name's Amber. And so they're doing this over a seance, but Nina ends up getting transported back to hell. Okay, but at the same time, they're doing a seance with the Nazi medal, and they end up bringing Justinian and Theodora and Danny back to the valley. And they start killing people at this party. But Nina's in hell, and she runs into the Nazi, and she's like, how can I meet the girl who looks like me? And so Nazi takes her so far and says, I can't go any further, or else they'll be after me. And so he says, go this way. So Nina goes that way and runs into Theodora and Justinian's daughter who had the plague. She's like, you're the chosen one. You can stop this. You must cleanse the book of fire and fire. Destroy the book of fire and fire, which makes sense, I guess. I mean, you'd think the book of fire would be destroyed by water, its opposite element, but apparently everything's destroyed by fire. I mean, it's a book, and books burn. But anyways. So Theodora and Danny and Justinian get Jason Mewes, kill a bunch more people at this party, and then end up back in hell just in time to stop Nina from destroying the book. Justinian gives a big speech about how he can't be stopped, but then Danny grabs the book and throws it in the fire, saying she cares more about her bloodline than being immortal and ruling hell. And then Danny and Justinian and Theodora all get the plague and die in hell. And that's pretty much the end of the movie. Besides the party scene going a little too long and not really advancing the story till the seance part, it's a good movie. And it's got a lot of blood and death in it. And the hell scenes are really cool. So I'm giving it 10 out of 12 stars. Go watch it. Book of Fire on Tubi.